Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. We're here at PPG Miami. I'm here with the MRG boys. I'm the one lonely crossroad guy, but these guys are like family, so it's mad chill. So we're doing my top 16 deck profile here. I played Dark Broly. Not super spicy. My list is pretty weird, I guess you could say. It's kind of similar to the MRG guys, and they did give me a lot of input on it. We've been testing it online a lot. Obviously, we don't all live near each other, so we've been doing that. But I made so many last minute changes to this deck that I'm going to share with you guys. Hopefully you find it kind of funny because I find it hilarious. I was easily the least confident player in this hotel room going into the event. I ended up going 5-0 in Swiss, which was really cool. Lost in top 16, not so cool. Vegeta Unison and Fury is a really strong card. That's one of the ways we're going to try and innovate this deck is to like figure out how to beat that card more so. But anyways, let's get into the deck profile. So play Dark Broly, not going to really spend too much time on the leader. Sets up your drop. Okay, one thing I do want to talk about the leader, right? So my original Dark Broly list, like I've been playing this in set 11. Obviously, I've been keeping up with it in Draft Box 6 and now set 12 meta. I used to be really big on like 35 30Ks. That was like the count I wanted, was like 35 to make sure I could mill 3 every single time. And back then it was super consistent. Now, I don't remember off the top of my head, I think it's 29 or 28 30Ks. It's one or the other. But yeah, your front side's a little bit less consistent, but as long as you don't completely miss, you can still play the game, because once you get to your backside, you pretty much have the guaranteed put 3 back, right? Don't get me wrong, it does hurt when you miss 3, like obviously you want to hit 3 here, but you can still play the game, and that's the weird thing about Dark Broly as well. The best cards in this deck are not 30Ks, and it's so strange, but it's just a matter of the fact. So like you're sacrificing 30Ks for other really powerful cards. It does cut consistency. But I think after playing this weekend, I was really iffy about it, but I think overall it makes your deck better. So we'll get into the main deck here. So we're playing the 4 super combos. I don't think you ever need to charge red. I don't think you ever need to play Topo. I don't think you're ever going to want to use 2 defensive energy. Like it just doesn't really happen. So I think mono black really is just the way to go. We're playing, of course, our 4 1-drop Brolys, and we're playing 4 ball. So you might have seen the video earlier this week where I did Dalen and those guys' deck profiles. Dalen played 2 ball, Ryan played 3, Amani played 4. I was on 4 forever. Eventually, I got convinced to try out 2. I almost took it to the tournament, and then I was like, nah, you got to play 4. Because there's so many times where casting this on 1 and having the ball without having to pay energy to search it is so important. So 4 was definitely the right call. I definitely don't regret it in any way. All right, then we have, of course, our 4 Warpy guys, our 4 Realm Ravagers, and 3 of the free play blockers. I think this ratio is really good. The free play blocker is really good, don't get me wrong. Like, there's just a lot of times where you're going to play all 3 of them in one turn, like on a turn 3 or turn 4 going for game. But this guy at 3 is pretty much fine. I guess you could really interchange these ratios however you want, because normally you get some of them from the deck, but you really want to hit these guys off the top 3. And then we're playing 4 copies of the new red guy, Unbridled Destruction. So this guy's kind of weird because 2 energy in Dark Broly is a lot. You have multiple turn 2 plays. A lot of times it's Mickey Kabora, sometimes it's a Gravy Overrealm, and sometimes it's this. This guy is arguably the worst one, but he is a big combo enabler, which we'll talk about in a second. You pay him for 2. If your opponent has 3 or more life, he triggers, he restands, so that's good. You get like a dual attacker essentially. And then your opponent either warps a battle card in their hand, field, and drop area, or they crit 1 life. So if they can't, if they don't have a battle card in the battle area or a battle card in the drop area, they're basically forced to crit a life, which is good. And swing with this again, in certain game states, if it's like, your opponent tapped out on 1 or something along those lines, this is going to be force damage, which is really good because obviously it's a big 30K body. But the main reason he's really good, he enables the Heartfelt Plea combo. So, all right, I was so distraught on this combo for the longest time. Like, obviously this card came out, it's a red guy, your leader awakens, it triggers, right? So it makes sense, right? Again, I mentioned this guy is sort of underwhelming on his own, so it made this feel a little weird. This is much different than it was in Surge Goku, because Surge Goku, this was an easy 3 of. It's energy, it goes under your leader to awaken. In this deck, it's a bit more clunky, but it is a real big saving grace that the super combo can bottom deck it. So that's a really big plus. So the downside of playing this card is not very big. It's 10K combo in a deck that you don't have a lot of energy to work with. But again, because of this, the downside is pretty negligible. It's just the fact that, like, making sure you have this whole combo on turn 2, turn 3 when you want to awaken is just a little bit tough. But it ended up being worth playing, again, because the downside is very minimal. I almost think you want to play 3. Amani played 1, and we played a mirror match. He played his one copy of Plea on me every single game, 3 games in a row. Over the course of the entire tournament, I think it was 7 rounds that I played Plea in 2 of my matches. Like, that was it. So it almost makes me not want to play it, but I think it's too free to not play, but I guess we're going to have to work on it, figure it out. All right, so next up, we have 4 Makikabora. I was back and forth on 3 and 4. I think for this meta, 4 copies was the right play. It's really good in the mirror match, really good against Red Broly. Not so great against Mecha. I usually sat it out against Mecha, but there are things you can call. You can call Bergamo 5, stuff like that. And then against a lot of other linear rogue decks like Green Gotenks and stuff like that, this card is just amazing. You play your 1-drop Broly on 1, you play this on 2, and it searches your ball. That's why this card's ridiculous in this main deck, because obviously it has a really busted effect against a lot of the meta, so it is a meta call, but also it searches your balls. So it's really good for that regard too. Then we're playing 2 copies of Toa, Union of Magic and Science. Another ball searcher. She can also recur the ball from the drop area. And this is one thing I noticed with Dark Broly players. They keep a lot of energy open when they don't have to, right? Like, again, in this deck, not many 10k combos. The only one is Heartfelt Plea in the main deck. So if you don't have a negate, there's no real reason to keep energy up unless you're trying to bluff, which is like a really intricate thing. But if you don't have a reason to keep an energy up, there's no reason not to use the mana sink effect to pick up a ball. Like, just be as energy efficient as you possibly can, and that's going to reward you pretty heavily in this deck. But only 2 copies because we already have 4 other ball searchers, so 2 copies was good. 1 Toa Dark Aura Illuge. I used to be on 3 of this card. I cut it to 0, and I put it back at 1, and I'm very happy I did. This card is excellent in matchups that can stall you out, like blue and yellow. This card's incredible against yellow. I liked it a lot against Mecha, just because you could sacrifice your Realm Ravager. Let's just say they Nimbus you. You can sacrifice Realm Ravager and replay it to get the extra cards out of their hand, which is very, very good. And you can pick it up with Power Burst, so the 1 copy is fine. If you mill the leader, you can pick it up. 2 Mass and Brainwash No More. This card used to be far more busted in this deck, but again, we had to make concessions for 30Ks to fit things. So what you can do with this card is, on your Awaken turn, let's say you have 6 in your drop, overwhelm this guy, put 3 back, attack, Awaken, you attack with this first, then attack with leader, Awaken, sacrifice this guy after he's already swung, so you know he's an overwhelm, so instead of putting him in your ward, put him in your drop, and then leader put back 3. That's 7 right there for a Dark Broly. So that combo did come up a few times. The Activate Battle actually also came up against like certain double strikes, certain crits, stuff like that. You want to have it against Celzino. I was also scared of Reboot Gohan, because your Floodgate, Protector of the People, doesn't do much against Reboot Gohan. So I did really want to play 3 just because I was scared of that deck. Luckily, I didn't play against it, but 2 was definitely good for the purpose it served. 1 Mira, I was convinced to play this card, and you know, max rarity, Jordan Markle signature right there. I was convinced to play it. Never really came up. Don't think it's really necessary in the deck. Almost all your battle cards are like already swinging for infinite, right? So I get the idea behind it. It's always a 5k with your Leader's Awaken skill, so it's never like a big downside to play it. And that was my thought process with Fu Shroud for a little bit, but I think there's just other cards you can play in the deck. This card right here is Mega Gas. So Demon God Demigra is, it really helps Dark Broly in its bad matchups. Its bad matchups are decks that can stall you out. It's like blue with Floodgates, yellow as well with like Nimbus and things like that, and different counterplays. This card turning sideways every turn helps you grind out those decks that can just outlast you. At least that was what they could do before this card came out, but now it's a lot harder for them to outlast you, so card's really good. 3 Gravy. Okay, so earlier versions of the deck, back in like early set 11, wasn't playing this card. I was like, you know, Dark Broly blows up hand size. Why would you want to combo cards to do stuff like that? But this is better than Dark Broly Unison because it's 0 energy. That's just like the pure reason of it. This is Dark Broly Unison, but it's 0 energy, and it's a combo card. It's amazing. We're playing 2 Tag Team Gohan. Shout out to Dalen and the MRG guys for putting me on this card. I wasn't going to play it at first. And again, it's like a really busted card in the deck, but it's not a 30k, so it's a little awkward. But this card was so good. Like, the fact that your leader can activate battle, pop your 30ks, play this. It's a free attacker or it's free defense, which is amazing in the mirror match, amazing against Red Broly. This card is ridiculous. 2 or 3, I think is a good number. I played 2, again, just for space reasons. And this is a 52 card list, by the way. 2 Champa, was playing 1. Glad the guys convinced me to play 2. I could honestly see this deck playing 3 Champa, because like, you throw Champa on any of your 30ks, that's almost guaranteed damage. Like, it's just incredible. Plus, so yeah, Vegeta, Unison Fury, very annoying card for this deck to deal with. This is one of the best ways to deal with it, because you play a guy, like let's say you summon a Gravy or summon this dude, like they have counterplays for it. So just getting with that double strike on the leader, that's a really efficient way to do it. Main deck negates, 2 power burst, 1 protector of the people. This is the split I went with. I was on 3 protector for the longest time, and I'm so happy I played 2 power burst because this card is only in this meta. This card is only good against Red Broly. It's okay against Mecha. It is okay against Mecha. They can cooler it, which actually happened to me on stream, which was kind of awkward. This card, though, you want this against every other matchup. Anything Rogue, anything Mirror Match as well. This card is okay, but not amazing. Power Burst, excellent. So we'll go over to the side deck. All right, so we have 1 Secret Rare in the side deck. The Spring Kite Time, Space Time, Unraveler. Sorry, Dalen, we didn't give you the memo. This card's supposed to be in the side deck. I was maining it, but then I talked to Amani about it, and he actually really convinced me to put it in the sideboard. Because, again, this card is not great in the mirror. This card's not great against Red Broly. It is very good against Mecha, though. It is very good against Rogue. So I think siding it was the right justification. Again, if it was 30K, maybe if it wasn't 10K combo, easy main deck. But I think side deck was very appropriate. But I think it should be, whether it's your main or side, I don't think it's wrong. But I think it's a good call. 1 more protector. So this came in against Red Broly. There was different builds of Mecha. There was more aggressive builds, and there were more, like, control builds. This did come in against the more aggressive Mecha builds. I just wanted to swing 15, 15, 15, so that was good in that scenario. 1 Super Kamehameha. Originally was on 2, ended up cutting it to 1 for space, and I think that's totally fine, because you really don't want to clunk this card. Like, you don't want to see too many of it. But this is your out to the Piccolo Junior Giant Force Ultimate. It's really, really good in that regard. So the 1 copy was clutch. This is a weird one that I don't think anyone else plays that I really like. SS3 Tag Team Trunks. He is the only Overwhelm that is not 20K or higher that has double strike. It is unfortunate that you have to warp a card from hand to give the double strike. A lot of times, actually, I'll just drop Chomp on this just to not really take the fat neg. But this helps you kill Red Broly. If they Violent Raise you, you can play something and get under their Violent Raise. This also is very good against Vegeta, Unison, and Fury as well, because I needed to play something that can actually attack. So that was good for that. But yeah, we need to figure out more ways to beat that card. 2 Piccolo Savior from the Beyond. Shout out to Dalen for this one. Amazing tech in the sideboard. Honestly, might need to be a main deck. Amazing against yellow. Amazing against yellow where they Nimbus you. This is not affected by Nimbus, so you keep going. Sets up your drop area incredibly well. The +1, pitch 1, draw 1, amazing. 2 Secret Identity never came in, but it was just for things like Vegex, things like Bulma, Launch, anything that's just going to spam a board. So that was for that. 3 BMS, for the longest time, I've seen Dark Broly players, especially in set 11, main decking this card. To me, personally, didn't really make sense because this card was not amazing against a lot of stuff in set 11. Like, it was okay against Sin and stuff like that. This card hits everything in set 12. So this is like a super big rogue killer, but it's not great against the meta. So I think side deck for that card is totally appropriate. And then we have 3 Bardock the Tenacious. Good in the mirror, good against Red Broly. Arguably okay against Mecha, again, when they're going to go for like that 15, 15, 15, 15. It is good in those scenarios, but just a really good card overall. But again, awkward thing, it's not 30K, so we're going to have to figure out the deck. I think we had really good builds this weekend. We all did play pretty similar builds. It was pretty good. I'm really happy I played Dark Broly. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. For the longest time, I was like, am I playing Mecha or Dark Broly? Mecha or Dark Broly? I wrote an article about that if you guys want to check it out. Basically just detailing my thoughts leading up to the event. But I'm really happy to play Dark Broly. Had a really awesome time in Swiss. Top Cut, a little bit more unfortunate, but hope you guys enjoyed the video. I do want to shout out Dalen and the MRG guys for letting me stay with them. I really do appreciate it. I mean, we're basically extensions of each other's teams. Like, that's how tight we guys are. I love chilling with these guys. I want to shout out to my team because they really did a great job helping me get prepped for this event. Testing with them and with MRG was awesome. Shout out to PPG for throwing an awesome tournament. Shout out to all the guys in Miami. It's been awesome hanging out, man. Thank you guys. Drop any questions down below about the deck and stuff like that. I'll see you next time.